In my previous video, I completed concentration terms and the problems based on the concentration terms, that is weight percentage, weight volume percentage, mole fraction, molarity, normality and parts per million. Okay. Now come to a very important concept, that is the equivalent concept or equivalent weight. Equivalent concept. Now, in equivalent concept, mainly, suppose if you want to calculate the normality of a solution. What is the definition of a normality? Number of gram equivalents of a solute that is present in the 1 liter solution. Now, how to find the number of gram equivalents? Okay, for such purpose we require equivalent concept. Okay, now here we know the mole concept. Now it is equivalent concept. In mole concept, we know how to calculate the number of moles of a substance. Number of moles is equal to given mass upon molar mass. Given mass upon molar mass. It is also known as a number of gram moles. Number of gram moles. How to calculate the number of moles or number of gram moles? Given mass divided by the molar mass. Let's suppose if the number of gram moles, let's suppose equal to 1. Let's suppose number of moles equal to 1. Then what about the relation between mass and molar mass? So mass is equal to what? Molar mass. Mass is equal to molar mass. Now, for 1 mole of a substance, the mass is always equal to its molar mass. 1 mole of a substance, the mass will be always equal to its molar mass. Its molar mass. Now come to equivalent concept. From equivalent concept, number of equivalents is equal to, here also, mass upon gram या equivalent mass. It is also known as a number of gram equivalents. Let's suppose number of equivalents is 1. Then what is the relation between the mass and equivalent mass? Mass of a substance will be equal to equivalent mass. This is the one equivalent. What is the definition of a one equivalent? The mass of a substance will be equal to its equivalent mass, then it is called 1 gram equivalent. It is called what? Number of gram equivalents is 1. When the number of gram equivalents will become 1? When the mass of a substance will be equal to its equivalent mass. Now, we know how to calculate the molar mass. Molar mass nothing but the mass corresponding to 1 mole of a substance. Suppose in case of a compound, if we add all the masses of atomic weights, so that we get the molar mass. Sum of the atomic masses will give the molar mass. Okay. Now what about the equivalent mass? How we can calculate this equivalent mass? There is a formula to calculate the equivalent mass or equivalent weight. It is also referred as a equivalent weight or equivalent mass is equal to molar mass upon n factor. Molar mass upon n factor. N factor is also referred as a valency factor. Is also referred as a valency factor. Now, how to calculate the equivalent mass or equivalent mass of any substance? The molar mass of a substance divided by n factor or valency factor. Now, this is very important to calculate the n factor. Once we know the calculation of n factor or a valency factor of any compound, so dividing the n factor by its molar mass, so that we will get the equivalent mass. Once we know the equivalent mass, we can find the number of equivalents. We can find the number of equivalents. Yes or no? Now, the calculation of n factor, it is a very important concept. So you may have questions in the JEE NEET advanced level point of view. So this is a very important concept to calculate the n factor. Now, in this mole concept, let's suppose I have one equation: small a moles of capital A, small b moles of a capital B, small c moles of a capital D, and small d moles of a capital D. In this reaction must be, that is the equation must be balanced. The equation must be balanced. So when we are using in mole concept, A moles of capital A react with small b moles of capital B to give small c moles of capital C and small d moles of capital D. In this mole concept, compulsory we need balanced equation. Whenever we are dealing with moles, compulsory we have to balance the equation. We have to balance the equation. But in this situation, that is the mole concept situation, same equation I am writing. Now, here the equation need not be balanced. This equation need not be balanced because the concept is equivalent concept. Equivalent concept is equal to, let's suppose 1 gram equivalent A react with 1 gram equivalent B to give 1 gram equivalent C and 1 gram equivalent D. Here we deals with the number of equivalents, not with the number of moles. Let's suppose 1 gram equivalent of A will react with 1 gram equivalent of B. Let's suppose if we take the 2 gram equivalents of A, then again 2 gram equivalent of B to produce 2 gram equivalent of C and 2 gram equivalents of D. So all the number of equivalents of reactants will be equal to number of equivalents of product. This is called law of chemical equivalence. This is called what? Law of chemical equivalence. Let's say number of gram equivalents of A will be equal to what? Number of gram equivalents of B will be equal to what? Number of gram equivalents of C will be equal to what? Number of gram equivalents of D. So in this reaction, all the number of equivalents remaining same. Number of equivalents of reactant will be equal to number of equivalents of products. This is the concept of equivalent. In this what happens? No need of balanced equation. This is very important. Suppose if the reaction is not balancing, so according to mole concept, if we want to solve the numerical, we must balance the equation first of all, then we have to calculate number of moles of corresponding reactants or products. But here no need of balancing of any equation, only by using the concept of equivalent mass. So we can find the number of equivalents of reactants or number of equivalents of the products. Okay. Now, in this equivalent concept, given mass divided by equivalent mass. Okay. Now, equivalent mass or equivalent weight, how to calculate molar mass of the substance divided by n factor or valency factor. Okay, let's suppose I have to calculate the normality of a solution. It is a concentration term. It is a concentration term which involve the equivalent concept. Okay, what is the definition of normality? It is the number of gram equivalence of a solute that present in 1 liter or 1000 milliliter solution at constant temperature. So suppose if we want to calculate the normality of a solution, obviously we require the number of equivalents. When we dealing with molarity, number of moles per liter, we know how to calculate the number of moles given mass upon molar mass. Okay, so it is very easy to calculate the molarity, but it is not such easy like calculation of normality. Okay, now normality, number of equivalents of a substance that present in the 1 liter solution. How to calculate the number of equivalents of a substance? That is the mass upon equivalent mass. Okay, now to number of gram equivalents of a solute divided by volume of solution in liters. Now how to find the number of gram equivalents of a substance? Mass upon gram equivalent mass into 1 by volume in liters. Otherwise, if the volume is given in milliliters, so we have 1000 by volume in milliliters. So this is the formula to calculate the number of the normality of a given solution. So weight of a solute given to you. Now gram equivalent weight, we have to find how to find the equivalent mass. There is a formula to find the equivalent mass. Equivalent mass is equal to this is the formula, molar mass divided by n factor. Molar mass divided by what? N factor. Okay, so this is the concept of the normality. When we are dealing with the normality, we must know the number of equivalents of a substance. How to find the number of equivalents of a substance? Given mass upon equivalent mass. Next, how to find the gram equivalent weight of a substance? Molar mass upon n factor. Now, what is the definition of a equivalent mass or equivalent weight? What is the definition of equivalent mass or equivalent weight? Now here, it is the mass of a substance which react or displaces directly or indirectly 1.008 parts by mass of hydrogen or 8 parts by mass of oxygen or 35.5 parts by mass of chlorine or 23 parts by mass of sodium metal or 108 parts by mass of silver. Now, see the definition once again. It is the mass of a substance which combine or displaces directly or indirectly 1.008 parts by mass of hydrogen, 8 parts by mass of oxygen, 35.5 parts by mass of chlorine, 23 parts by mass of sodium, 108 parts by mass of the silver. Now, what is the meaning of 1.008 parts? That is the 1.008 grams of hydrogen. If any substance which react or which combine, which displaces approximately, let's say 1 gram of a hydrogen or 8 grams of a oxygen or 35.5 parts, that is the grams of a chlorine or 23 grams of a sodium or 108 grams of a silver, then the mass of that substance is called 1 gram equivalent. 1 gram equivalent. Are you getting my point? Now, here these are the some reference elements: hydrogen, oxygen, chlorine, sodium and silver. These are the some reference elements by which we can calculate the equivalent mass of the other substance. Okay. Now, one more important thing. This equivalent mass is a pure number. It is a pure number. Okay. Next, this equivalent mass of a species not fixed. Suppose if you see one particular species, one particular compound, the equivalent mass may be changes, which depend on the reaction conditions. Reaction conditions. Now, equivalent mass, it is the mass of a substance which reacts or displaces directly or indirectly 1 gram of a hydrogen or 8 grams of a oxygen, 35.5 grams of a chlorine, 23 grams of a sodium, 108 grams of a silver. Now, these are some standard elements whose equivalent mass is fixed, by comparing which we can find the equivalent mass of an unknown element or unknown substance. Okay. Now, equivalent mass is a pure number. Equivalent mass is not a fixed quantity. It can be variable, which depend upon the reaction conditions. That's why this is very important. Now, how to calculate the equivalent weight? Just now I told you, molecular weight or molar mass divided by what? N factor. Remember, molar mass is fixed. Molar mass is always fixed. Yes or no? But equivalent weight is not fixed. Because the denominator N factor is variable. Same substance. same substance will have different N factor in different reaction condition. We will see how to calculate the N factor of substances. Okay, so by changing the N factor, even though molar mass is fixed, but the equivalent weight is not fixed, so that's why equivalent weight is a variable quantity. Is a variable quantity that will depend on what? Reaction conditions. That will depend on what? Reaction conditions. Now, here I am taking some examples: hydrogen, oxygen, chlorine, sodium and silver. These are important referring elements. By referring of these elements, we can calculate the equivalent weight of unknown element. We can calculate the equivalent weight of unknown element. Okay. Now here you see, let's suppose magnesium combining with oxygen to give magnesium oxide. What is the question? Calculate the equivalent weight of the following metals. This is the first question. Okay. Now, second question: calcium combined with chlorine to give calcium chloride. Aluminium combined with chlorine to give aluminium chloride. Now the question is, calculate the equivalent weight of magnesium, calcium and aluminium. Now you see, in the first question, magnesium combined with oxygen to give magnesium oxide. Yes or no? Now this reaction is not balanced because here oxygen atoms are 2, here only one oxygen atom is there. So I am balancing the equation first of all. Yes or no? Now it is the balanced equation. Now see, how many moles of magnesium? 2 moles. How many moles of oxygen? 1 mole. By unitary method, we can calculate the equivalent weight of the magnesium. Let's suppose, do you know what is the molar mass of oxygen? 32 grams. What is the molar mass of magnesium? 24. Because atomic weight is 12, atomic mass is 24. 1 mole 24, 2 moles 2 into 24. Yes or no? Now this is the unitary method. Now 32 grams oxygen reacting with 2 into 24 grams magnesium. Yes or no? Yes. What is the standard equivalent weight of oxygen I am taking? 8. Let's suppose if 8 grams of oxygen will definitely combine with how many grams of magnesium will be equal to the equivalent weight of that magnesium? Yes. Unitary method, 8 into 2 into 24 divided by 32. Okay. Now 8 ones are 8 fours are 2 ones are 2 twos are 2 ones are 2 twelves are. So you will get 12 grams. 12 grams is the equivalent weight of the magnesium. 12 grams is the equivalent weight of the magnesium. Okay. Once again, magnesium combined with oxygen to give magnesium oxide. Now I am balancing 2 moles of magnesium corresponding to 1 mole of oxygen. That means 32 grams of oxygen required for 2 into 24 grams of a magnesium. So how many 8 grams of oxygen will combine with how many grams of magnesium? That will be the 12 grams. The 12 is the equivalent weight of the magnesium. Okay. Now come to second problem. Second problem. Calcium combined with chlorine to give calcium chloride. Yes, the equation is balanced. Now compare the moles of chlorine and calcium. 1 mole calcium, 1 mole chlorine. Do you know atomic mass of calcium is 40 gram per mole and chlorine is 71 gram per mole. Okay. Now 71 gram chlorine, 71 gram chlorine required 40 grams calcium for the reaction. Now what is the standard value of elementary chlorine? 35.5 grams. Then 35.5 grams chlorine will require how many grams of calcium? 71 grams chlorine required 40 grams of a calcium. Then 35.5 grams of chlorine will require how much? 35.5 into 40 divided by 71. It will be 2 tables. It will be 2 tables. So 20 grams. 20 grams is the equivalent weight of calcium. Okay. Now come to question number 3. Aluminium combined with chlorine to give aluminium chloride. Okay. Now come to balancing. 3 2s are 2 3s are. Chlorine atoms are balanced. Now aluminium also balanced. Okay. Now how many moles of aluminium? How many moles of chlorine? 3 moles. So 3 into how many grams? 71 grams. 2 into how many grams? 27 grams. Because 1 mole aluminium is equal to 27 grams. 3 into 71 gram chlorine required 2 into 27 grams aluminium. Yes or no? Then what is the equivalent weight of chlorine? 35.5 grams of chlorine will react with how many grams of aluminium? You will get 9 grams of aluminium. 9 grams of aluminium is the equivalent weight of aluminium. 20 grams of calcium is the equivalent weight of calcium. And 12 grams of magnesium is the equivalent weight of the magnesium. Equivalent weight of the magnesium. Are you getting my point? Now, here, how to calculate the equivalent weight? Formula: molar mass upon n factor. Molar mass upon n factor. Now here we can calculate the equivalent weight of different substances by the calculation of the n factor. And molar mass we know. If we know the n factor, we can find the equivalent weight. Now how to calculate the n factor? N factor depending upon the substance. Which substance we are dealing? Let's suppose atom, let's suppose molecule, let's suppose ion, that may be positive charge or negative charge ion, maybe salt, maybe acid, maybe base, maybe oxidizing substance, maybe a reducing substance. Okay, depending upon the nature of the substance, so the n factor can changes. N factor can changes. Okay, now let's suppose I have how to identify, how to calculate the n factor. Let's suppose for elements n factor will be equal to its valency. Okay, let's suppose first group element is their valency 1, second group element is their valency 2, third group element is their valency 3. Okay, group number, group 1 valency 1, group 2 valency 2, group 3 valency 3. Okay, now group number what we say, this is 13, actually 13. Okay, group number 14 valency 4, group number 15 valency 5, group number 16 valency 2, group number 17 valency 1. Okay, so once we know the valency, For any element, we can easily calculate its equivalent weight. Let's suppose sodium is there. What is the equivalent weight of sodium? Molar mass, that is the 23. Sodium is a group 1, so valency is 1, so 23. Okay. Let's suppose magnesium. How to find the equivalent weight of a magnesium? Magnesium molar mass. Magnesium is a group 2, so you will get 12. Let's suppose aluminium is a group 13 element, valency is 3. Okay. Now equivalent weight is equal to atomic weight of aluminium by valency, so that is the 9. Are you getting my point? So this is the calculation of n factor for elements. Number 1. Number 2, for ions. For ions. What is the n factor for ions? Ions n factor is equal to magnitude of the charge on the ion. We have to take the magnitude only. Okay, let's suppose sodium ion is there, magnesium ion is there, aluminium ion is there, chloride ion is there, oxide ion is there, nitride ion is there. Now, what is the equivalent weight of sodium ion? Atomic mass of sodium. We have to take the atomic mass. Okay. By valency, here the charge on the species. Here 24 by 2. Here 27 by 3. Here chlorine atomic mass 35.5 by 1. Oxygen atomic mass 16 by valency 2. That is the charge on the species. So you will get 8 here. Here 35.5. Here 9. Here 12. Here 23. Now come to nitrogen. Nitrogen in the form of nitride, atomic mass of nitrogen 14 by charge on the species. Okay, these are mono atomic species. Let's suppose we have polyatomic ions. Let's suppose ammonium ion is there, H3O plus hydronium ion is there, sulfate ion is there, carbonate ion is there, phosphate ion is there. Okay. Now the n factor is equal to 1. N factor is equal to 1. N factor is 2. N factor is 2. N factor is here 3. The charge, the magnitude of the charge on the ion is referred as the n factor corresponding. Once we know the n factor, by simply molar mass divided by the n factor, you will get the equivalent weight. Okay. Now come to number 3. N factor for salts. How to calculate the n factor of a salt? For a salt, n factor will be equal to the magnitude of the total charge on either cation or anion. Total charge on either cation or anion with only we have to take the magnitude. Okay. Otherwise, LCM of charge on cation and anion. Now let's suppose I have sodium chloride. This is a salt. What is the valence of a sodium? 1. Chlorine is also 1. Plus 1, minus 1. If you take the total charge on the cation or total charge on the anion, only we have to take the magnitude. So here n factor is equal to what? 1. N factor is equal to what? 1. Let's suppose sodium carbonate is there. Sodium carbonate is there. Now total charge on the cation plus 2 or anion minus 2. So we have to take only the charge. Let's suppose 2 sodiums are there, each sodium plus 1, 2 sodiums plus 2, this will be minus 2. Are you getting my point? Actually, it will be like this, 2Na plus CO3 2 minus. Total charge on cation or total charge on anion, the magnitude value. Okay, now come to MgCl2, its n factor will be equal to 2, AlCl3, its n factor is equal to 3. Let's suppose aluminium sulfate is there. Aluminium sulfate is there. Now each aluminium has valency 3. Each aluminium has valency 3. So total 2 aluminiums are there, valency 6. So Are you getting my point? It contains 2 Al plus 3 ions and 3 sulfate ions. If you see total charge on cation or anion, otherwise the LCM of the charge of cation and anion 2 into 3, that is the 6 is the n factor. 6 is the n factor. So n factor for elements, simply we can use the valency of that element. In case of ions, we have to use the n factor charge on the species. In case of salt, we have to take the total charge on either cation or anion, or LCM of the charge of the cation and anion. Okay. Now come to n factor for acids. N factor for acids and bases. How to calculate the n factor of acid and base? Now, fourth one, acids. Acids. How to calculate the equivalent weight of an acid? Again, formula is same. Molar mass divided by what? N factor. Now, what is the definition of an n factor of a acid? Okay. Now, how to define the n factor? Now, this n factor for acid is called basicity of acid. What we call? Basicity. For acids, what is the n factor? Basicity. What is the n factor? Basicity. Now, what is the definition of n factor or basicity corresponding to acid? It is the number of H plus ions. Number of H plus ions given by one molecule of an acid. One molecule of acid will give how many number of H plus ions in water? In water. One molecule of acid will give how many number of H plus ions is called basicity. That means actually acid will combine with base. Acid will produce H plus ions, base will produce OH minus ions. How many H plus ions of an acid will give to base? That's why it is called basicity. It is called what? Basicity. Okay. Now here there are different types of acids. Okay. Let's suppose I have acid. What is the basicity? Let's suppose I have different acids: hydrochloric acid, nitric acid, acetic acid, formic acid, benzoic acid, sulfuric acid, this is oxalic acid, this is benzoic acid, organic acid, formic acid, acetic acid. Now, what is the definition of a basicity? Once again, it is the number of H plus ions produced by 1 mole of a acid or 1 molecule of a acid when it is dissolved in water. Okay. Now, here, if you see hydrochloric acid, when it ionizes, it gives 1 H plus ion. Yes, that's why its n factor is 1. Its n factor is 1. Now I am writing here equivalent weight also. Equivalent weight is equal to what? Molecular weight by what? Basicity. So here molecular weight is m, let's suppose by 1, that is m. Equivalent weight is equal to what? Molecular weight upon n factor. Okay. Now, in case of HCl, it gives only 1 H plus ions. Just you see how many ionizable H plus ions are there in acid. 1. Now in HNO3 also it give 1 H plus. So n factor is 1. So molecular weight by 1 is equal to molecular weight. Molecular weight by 1 is equal to molecular weight. Now come to acetic acid. How many hydrogens are ionizable in the form of H plus? You see acetic acid. Actually what we think, total 4 hydrogens are there. But actually out of these 4 hydrogens, only that hydrogen which is attached to more electronegative element, that is oxygen, is more acidic in nature. Okay. Now if you see the structure of acetic acid, CH3, C double bond OH. This is the Lewis structure of acetic acid. The hydrogen which is attached to more electronegative oxygen is responsible for acidic in nature. Okay, acidic nature. So that's why this is a monoacidic, monobasic acid. Here also formic acid, here also benzoic acid. All are mono because it gives only on 1H plus, just like acetic acid. Formic acid is also basicity 1, benzoic acid is also basicity 1. Now when basicity is 1, then equivalent weight, molecular weight both are same. Remember, when the basicity is 1, when the n factor is 1, when the n factor is 1, equivalent weight, molecular weight both are same. Are you getting my point? Now HCl molar mass is 36.5. So equivalent weight, molecular weight both are same. Now HNO3 molar mass is 63. So 63 molecular weight, 63 equivalent weight also, because n factor is 1. For acetic acid, molar mass is 60, equivalent mass is also 60. Okay, like that you can calculate. Now come to sulfuric acid. Sulfuric acid, if you see the structure of a sulfuric acid, actually you have structures in inorganic chemistry or in chemical bonding also. We know how to draw the Lewis structure of a compound. Okay, sulfur is the central atom. Sulfur has 6 valence electrons, so it is able to form 6 covalent bonds. Oxygen is a divalent, so oxygen is forming the double. Is a monovalent, so it is forming the single bond. Now you see how many OH groups are present here? 2. Okay, this is one ionizable H plus. This is also another ionizable H plus. Total there are 2 ionizable H plus ions are there. So we can take the N factor for sulfuric acid is 2. Okay. Now molecular weight divided by 2. What is the molecular weight of sulfuric acid? 98 divided by 2, that is 49. Equivalent weight of sulfuric acid is 49. Okay. Now come to oxalic acid. Oxalic acid has 2 ionizable H plus ions. 2 ionizable H plus ions. So 2 ionizable H plus ions. So n factor is 2. Oxalic acid molecular weight by 2. So molecular weight 90 by 2, that is the 45. Okay. Now here acids are basically 2 types. Hydra acids, oxo acids. Hydra acids in which hydrogen and other element, only 2 elements will be present here. Here hydrogen is present, oxygen is also present, and some other element and some other non-metal element is present. The acid which containing both hydrogen and oxygen is called oxo acid. In oxo acids, basicity, number of OH groups. Okay, number of OH groups. So this is the 2 OH groups are there, basicity 2. 2 OH groups are there, basicity 2. Only 1 OH group is there here, basicity is 1. Okay. Now come to some important acids. Ortho, phosphoric acid. H3PO3. It is known as ortho. Yeah, simply we can say phosphoric acid is also ortho phosphorus acid. H3PO2. hypophosphorus acid. Now, what is the basicity here? We can expect 3. Here also 3. Here also 3, because 3 hydrogens are present in each molecule. But actually, this is the basicity 2. This will be the basicity 2, and this will be the basicity 1. And equivalent weight is equal to molecular weight by 3. This will be molecular weight by 2, and this will be molecular weight by 1. Now you may have one doubt. So here 3 hydrogens are there, so you are writing the basicity 3. But here 3 hydrogens are there, still you are writing 2. Here 3 hydrogens are there, still you are writing 1. Why we are writing the basicity 2 for orthophosphorus and basicity 1 for hypophosphorus? This is only depending upon the structure of the oxy acid. Structure of the oxy acid. Let's suppose I am writing the structure of oxy acid. Now in all these oxy acids, the central atom is phosphorus. Central atom is what? Phosphorus. Do you know phosphorus has valence electrons 5? Because phosphorus has valency shell 3s2 3p3. So total how many electrons in the valency shell? 5. So phosphorus can able to form 5 covalent bonds. Now out of which one oxygen will be formed double bond and remaining 3 covalent bonds. Okay. Now how many hydrogens are there here? Left 3, and how many oxygens are left here? 3. So each oxygen, each hydrogen will combine to give one OH group. So there are 3 OH bonds. Are you getting my point? Now come to second acid structure. Now how many hydrogens are there here? 3. How many oxygens will be left over? Only 2, because already one oxygen will be forming double bond. So remaining 2 hydrogens will combine with 2 OH. So there will be how many OH groups? Only 2. And leftover hydrogen is directly connected to phosphorus. Directly connected to phosphorus. Okay. Now third structure. Now here, out of 2 oxygen, one oxygen will form double bond and one oxygen will be left, which is combined with one hydrogen, so that it have only one OH. The remaining 2 hydrogens are directly connected. Just now I told you the hydrogen which is connected to more electronegative, the hydrogen which is connected to more electronegative atom is referred as acidic in nature. So now tell me how many hydrogens are directly connected to oxygen? 3. So this is the tribasic acid. Now 2 hydrogens are directly connected with one oxygen. So these 2 hydrogens are acidic in nature. That's why the basicity is equal to what? 2. Here basicity equal to what? 1. Now the hydrogen which is directly connected to phosphorus is not a acidic hydrogen. It is reducing hydrogen. This hydrogen is known as what? Reducing hydrogen. And these 2 hydrogens are referred as a what? Acidic hydrogens. Okay. These 2 hydrogens are referred as a reducing hydrogens, and these hydrogen referred as a acidic hydrogen. Are you getting my point? This is a very important question. Most of the students will confuse while writing the N factor or basicity of a phosphoric acid, phosphorus acid, or hypophosphorus acid. Okay. This is very important. Now here one more important question is there. Orthoboric acid, or simply we can say boric acid. This is H3BO3. H3BO3. Now, what is the N factor of this orthoboric acid? What is the N factor of this orthoboric acid? Now, I am writing one more structure regarding boric acid. Shall I write BOH taken thrice? Now tell me, what is the basicity of this acid? Most of the students, what they write, basicity is equal to 3. Because there are 3 OH groups are present. Just now आपने अभी बताया सर, ऑक्सी एसिड में बेसिसिटी जितना ज्यादा, जितना नंबर ऑफ OH ग्रुप्स रहता है उतना बेसिसिटी का बरस का नहीं है. मगर ये ऑर्थोबोरिक एसिड स्पेशल केस है. ये ऑर्थोबोरिक एसिड स्पेशल केस है. इसका बेसिसिटी 3 नहीं है. ओके. इसका बेसिसिटी 1. इसका बेसिसिटी कितना है? 1. हाउ टू एक्सप्लेन द बेसिसिटी ऑफ ऑर्थोबोरिक एसिड इज 1. ओके. How to explain the basicity of orthoboric acid is 1. Now here, This is the structure of orthoboric acid. Okay. Do you know boron is sp2 hybridized? Boron is sp2 hybridized because in boron valency shell, boron 1s2, 2s2, 2p1. Okay. In excited state what happens? 2s1, 2p, x1, 2p, y1, whereas 2pz is empty. So one s orbital and 2p orbitals only intermixing. Yes or no? Now what about the pz orbital? It is khali, empty. Now in boron, if you see 3 covalent bonds are there, each covalent bond has 2 electrons, so total it has 6 electrons. 6 electrons means it is electron deficient. Electron deficient. That is less than octet electron configuration, electron deficient. In organic chemistry or in chemical bonding, we know electron deficient species is referred as a Lewis acid. Electron pair acceptor. It can accept electron pair in order to complete its octet configuration. Yes or no? That's why boric acid, what happens? It accept the lone pair of electron from water. Lone pair of electron from water to accommodate in its vacant orbital. So now the boron completely fulfill its octet configuration. Yes or no? Let's suppose this oxygen donating its lone pair to boron. So boron gets partially negative charge and oxygen is positively charged. Okay. Now to neutralize the charge, positive charge on oxygen atom, what happens? Any one of the hydrogen pull its sigma electron towards more electronegative oxygen. Okay. So you will get BOH taken 4 whole negative. This is called borate ion and H plus ion, and it gives H plus ion. Now tell me, boric acid in water, what happens? It accepts the OH minus ions from water and give the H plus ions into the solution. That means it is giving how many H plus ions? 1. So only 1 H plus ion it is giving. That's why the basicity of the boric acid is 1. Okay. One more important thing. Boric acid is not protonic acid. Protonic acid means the acid which gives the proton. The acid which gives the proton is called protonic acid. It is a Lewis acid. It is monobasic Lewis acid. Basicity 1. Monobasic means basicity 1. Dibasic means basicity 2. Tribasic means basicity 3. Tetrabasic means basicity 4. Okay, this is a very important question. Once again I am telling, orthoboric acid or boric acid, formula H3BO3. According to the formula, what we expect the basicity 3. This is incorrect answer. Actual basicity of the boric acid is 1. Why the boric acid N factor is 1? Because in boric acid the center atom boron is electron deficient. It has less than 8 electrons in its valency shell, so it may have tendency to accept the electron from water molecule. By accepting the electron from the water molecule and giving the H plus ion into the water, so that's why H plus ion is 1. So boric acid will give only 1 H plus ion. So it is not a protonic acid. Of course, if it is a protonic acid, then the basicity will be 3. It is not a protonic acid. It is a Lewis acid. That too monobasic Lewis acid. It is a very important question in the competitive examination. Okay. Once again, what is the basicity of a boric acid? 3 or 1? 3 or 1? 1, because it is a monobasic Lewis acid. Okay. Now we know how to calculate the N factor or basicity of a given acid. Okay. After that, next one, bases. How to calculate the equivalent weight or N factor of a given base. For bases, how to find the equivalent weight? Molecular weight divided by N factor. This N factor is now referred as acidity. Referred as what? acidity. What is the meaning of acidity? Acidity of a base. Remember, basicity of a acid, acidity of a base. The definition, it is the number of H plus ions accepted, it is the number of H plus ions accepted by one molecule of a base from acid. How many number of H plus ions are accepting a base from one molecule of a acid? Otherwise, it is the number of OH minus ions given by one molecule of a base in water. In water, if you see one molecule of a base, how many OH minus ions are produced by the one molecule of a base in water is also referred as an acidity. Now, that means it is giving how many OH minus ions to the acid. It is giving how many number of OH minus ions to the acid is called acidity. Let's suppose I have base, corresponding N factor is called acidity. Now equivalent weight is equal to what? Molecular weight upon acidity, that is N factor. Okay. Now sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide, magnesium hydroxide, calcium hydroxide, aluminum hydroxide. How many OH minus ions are present? 1. Here also 1. Here 2. Here 2. Here 3. That means if you take the one molecule of NaOH, when it is ionized, it gives how many OH minus ions? Only 1. If you take the KOH, it will give only one OH minus ion. Let's suppose calcium hydroxide is there. It will give how many OH minus ions? 2. Let's suppose magnesium hydroxide is there. Let's suppose barium hydroxide is there. In each case, there will be 2 OH minus ions per molecule. Okay. Let's suppose aluminum hydroxide. In this case, 3 OH minus ions. So this is the acidity. So equivalent weight is equal to molecular weight by 1, molecular weight by 1, molecular weight by 2, molecular weight by 2, molecular weight by 3. Okay. Now NaOH molecular weight is 40, so equivalent weight is also 40. Are you getting my point? Potassium atomic mass 39, oxygen 16 plus 1 17. Are you getting my point? So you will get 56. Okay. Like that, we can calculate the molar mass and divide it by the acidity, that is the N factor, so that we can calculate the equivalent masses. So this is the N factor corresponding to the bases. Remember, acid or base, N factor is not fixed. Once again I am telling you, acid base N factor is not fixed. Okay, it depends on the reaction in which it involves. This is very important. Acid base N factor is not always fixed. Let's suppose sulfuric acid is there. It reacts with sodium hydroxide. My question is, find the equivalent weight of sulfuric acid in the following reactions. What is my question here? Find the equivalent weight of sulfuric acid in the following reaction. First reaction given to you, H2SO4 plus NaOH gives rise to NaHSO4 plus H2O. First question. Okay, question number 1. Question number 2, H2SO4 plus NaOH gives Na2SO4 plus H2O. Are you getting my point? Sulfuric acid, first of all we have to find the N factor. Once we know the N factor, we can find the equivalent mass. Are you getting my point? Now, in the first case, what happens? Sulfuric acid react with NaOH to give sodium, hydrogen sulfate and H2O. Generally, what we expect, the basicity is 2, so N factor is 2, but it is not the 2, it is the 1. Because in this reaction from here to here, if you observe how many number of replaceable H plus ions, how many number of replaceable H plus ions are there? Only one. It may give 2 H plus ions, but here only one OH minus ion is available. So one OH minus ion will combine with only one H plus ion to give one molecule of water. Are you getting my point? That means acid has 2 H plus ions ionizable, but it is giving only one H plus ion. That's why here N factor is 1. So what is the equivalent weight? Molecular weight upon N factor is 1. So molecular weight 98 divided by N factor 1, again you will get 98. But in the second problem, if you see, H2SO4 plus 2NaOH will give Na2SO4 plus 2H2O. From here to here, from acid to salt, if you observe, there are completely 2 hydrogens are replaceable. So that's why number of replaceable H plus ions will be here too. No more hydrogen will be present in this salt. In this salt, one hydrogen is present, okay? But in this salt, no more hydrogen will be present. That means complete neutralization occurs. That means this acid will produce 2H plus ions. This base will produce 2OH minus ions, and both will combine to give 2 moles of water. Are you getting my point? That means this acid furnishing how many H plus ions? 2. That's why here N factor is 2. But in this situation, this acid gives only 1 H plus and HSO4 minus. This 1 H plus will combine with 1 OH minus to give water, and this sodium cation bisulfate anion will form the sodium bisulfate salt. Are you getting my point? In this situation, what is the equivalent weight of sulfuric acid? Molecular weight by 2. Molecular weight is 98 by 2, so 49. Are you getting my point? The N factor of acid, N factor of a base, it is not always fixed. It may be variable depending upon the reaction condition. अगर आपको क्वेश्चन में कुछ भी नहीं दिया, ओनली सल्फ्यूरिक एसिड का इक्विवेलेंट, अगर मैं क्वेश्चन में सल्फ्यूरिक एसिड इक्विवेलेंट वेट पूछा, बस फाइंड sulfuric acid equivalent weight, then what will be the answer? It may be 98 when the N factor is taken as a 1. If N factor is taken as a 2, it may be 49. Okay? Now, sir, what is the correct answer? क्या हमने 98 आंसर लिखना या 49 का आंसर लिखना? Generally, remember, if reaction is not given to you, sulfuric acid is only given to you, we may expect that 100% ionization or dissociation. If only acid is given or only base is given, we assume that acid or base is 100% dissociated. When it 100% dissociated, it gives maximum 2H positive ions. That's why N factor is 2. N factor is 2. That's why equivalent weight is equal to 49. Are you getting my point? Are you getting my point? So whenever in this question only acid, only base is given, we have to assume that 100% dissociation. That means maximum number of H plus ions. If according to the given question, only according to the given question, we have to solve according to the given question. According to this question, only 1 H plus replaceable, so N factor is 1. According to this question, 2 H plus ions are replaceable, so here N factor is 2. Are you getting my point? And one more question I am giving to you. Please solve it. Now, I have one more question. Find the equivalent weight of phosphoric acid in the following reactions. Now I am giving the reactions. Phosphoric acid combined with sodium hydroxide, disodium hydrogen phosphate and water. Second question, phosphoric acid combined with 2NaOH to give, this will be sodium dihydrogen phosphate, this will be disodium hydrogen phosphate. Phosphoric acid combined with 3NaOH to give sodium phosphate. According to the reaction, we have to calculate the equivalent weight. Okay, don't go that phosphoric acid N factor is always 3. Always 3. It is not always correct. Only individually, if the phosphoric acid is given, then we can find that we can conclude that equivalent weight is equal to molecular weight by N factor, that is 3. But here, reaction, according to the reaction, in this reaction what happens? 3 H plus ions actually it can produce, but only 1 OH minus is present. So 1 H plus combined with 1 OH minus. Okay. So from here to here, number of replaceable, number of exchange H plus ions. How many? 1. That is N factor 1. N factor is 1. From here to here, number of exchangeable H plus ions, how many? Out of 3 H plus ions, only 2 OH minus ions will combine with 2 H plus. So that's why replaceable here 2. So we have N factor is equal to 2. Here 3 H plus ions will combine with 3 OH minus ions according to the equation. So N factor is equal to 3, because from here to here, number of exchangeable or replaceable H plus ions equal to what? 3. In this case, equivalent weight is equal to molecular weight of phosphoric acid 98 by 3. In this case, equivalent weight of the phosphoric acid is equal to 98 by 2. In this case, equivalent weight, molecular weight, both are same. Both are same. Remember, if N factor is 1, N factor is 1, equivalent weight is equal to molecular weight, because equivalent weight is equal to molecular weight by N factor. Equivalent weight is equal to what? Molecular weight by N factor. Now, here find the equivalent weight of the following. Number 1, ammonia. Actually, ammonia is a base. Ammonia is a base. How to calculate the equivalent weight of ammonia? Now, in base, the standard definition, how many OH minus ions will produce? Will be no any OH minus ion. In the sense, it has one lone pair of electron. Nitrogen has one lone pair of electron. When it is dissolving water, it accepts one H plus ion and it will convert it into NH4 plus and OH minus. Are you getting my point? So, what is the N factor of ammonia? 1. N factor of ammonia. Ammonia, actually it will exist as a ammonium hydroxide. It will exist as a what? Ammonium hydroxide. Next. This is a organic compound, hydrazine. How many lone pair of electrons are there? 1. So N factor is equal to 1. Now, in this question, there are 2 nitrogen atoms are there. There are 2 nitrogen atoms are there. So what we expect the N factor? What we expect the N factor? 1 or 2? Generally, students will say N factor is 2, because here also one lone pair, it accepts the 1 H plus, it accepts the 1 more H plus, so that means it has N factor 2. But actually, what happens? It accepts first 1 H plus, so NH2, NH3 plus. This hydrazine N factor is only 1. You may have one more doubt. So here nitrogen has also one lone pair. Why it should not abstract the one more H plus so that it will die positive? like charges are very close to each other, so due to strong repulsion between two like charges, strong repulsion between two like charges, it becomes unstable. It becomes what? Unstable. That's why we should not go for second addition of H plus N, only first addition of H plus. Let's suppose we have ethylene diamine. Ethylene diamine. Here what happens? Here one lone pair, here one lone pair. Now this compound has N factor 2, because if H plus accepted here and H plus accepted here, so it becomes NH3 plus CH2, CH2, here NH3 plus. Now these two positive charges are far away from each other, that's why we should not consider the electrostatic repulsion, but here strong repulsive forces are present between the two like charges. That's why here N factor, ammonia N factor is 1, hydrogen N factor is 1, ethylene diamine N factor is 2. Okay.